right, welcome to the Owen Schmitt Showdown here, hosted by thedpost.com from 6 to 7, streams live on thedpost.com. We're here live from Schmitt Saloon and Davison Brothers Music Hall right now. And just want to let these two guys know here, we've got two brothers on the show tonight, Mr. Jed Jerko, Mr. Scott Jerko. Everybody give them a round of applause. This is our, don't know if this is our final edition yet. We're going to try to keep this going as long as football's alive, but we got a baseball star in the house. We got royalty, Morgantown's finest, Mr. Jed Jerko. Jed, how you doing?
Doing well, thanks for having me up here.
Hey, you know, mostly the show is about football and stuff, but we're going to talk a little bit about deer hunting. And I heard your brother and your stand has snagged a pretty big buck. What happened there?
It's not the first time that it's happened, actually, but I do all the hard work and let him get the reward. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Scott, is this true?
The first one was, not the second one. The first one was in high school. I had broken my ankle in high school, and the first time I got to go hunting, I was like, come on, Jed, let me go in your stand. And he was only, I don't know, 12 at the time. He goes, okay. Real nice 18-inch spread buck comes in, and I kill him 10 yards, and he was all mad at me.
I'm a little bummed because you were going to let me in that stand, and I missed an opportunity. So I'm a little hurt over that. I'm just going to give a quick shout out to some high school teams here. South Charleston and Capital for the AAA championship, Bridgeport and Frankfort, the AA, and Class A Williamstown and St. Mary's. Just want to give those guys a big round of applause. You know, what a tough year, you know, high school football. I'm sure it's fun. A lot of dreams coming to a close, some opening up. You know, I mean, do you remember your high school experience?
My high school football pretty much revolved around Scott because I stopped playing after I was a sophomore. But just to be able to travel around in the playoffs and watch him play was it was a lot of fun. You know, those guys they spilled their guts out there on the field, and you know, they came up short there at the end. But it was a lot of fun to travel around and watch him play.
It's always fun in West Virginia high school football. I mean, everyone in town, it's almost like Texas in a sense, but it's on a greater scale when you consider the population. Because everyone in the city goes and watches you play. Everyone knows your name. It's not like Texas, you're like, who are these guys? Here, it's like everyone knows who the big dogs are. Mm-hmm. So they go and watch and they keep up with it.
I'm excited. I never got a chance to play in a championship game, obviously. When I was in high school, we were pretty awful. We weren't that bad. We were like mid-pack or whatever, but it was pretty much, we had about 3 plays, and that was like me left, me right, and then a waggle play. But, which I always bust my quarterback, Nick Warwick. He probably only could throw about 20 yards. So, I mean, those waggle passes were about right in his wheelhouse. So, you probably defended a couple waggle passes back in your day.
Oh, just a few.
Yeah, just a few. Well, let's get into it a little bit. Iowa State, what'd you think?
It started off scary. I mean, they were converting every single third down that came their way. It was like the whole first quarter, it's like we got them in 3rd and short, but we never converted a third down defensive stop. They were just dumping it down. We missed a few tackles and then got behind. Offensive line came through and played really well. Yeah, really well. Russell Shell, you know, saved us there in the first quarter from getting blown out. I mean, if they get up 3-4 touchdowns, and I mean that's demoralizing.
Yeah.
And he came through there, and then of course we had a fumble early in the second quarter, but yeah, started getting pressure and totally made them one-dimensional, at least on the defensive side of the ball. They couldn't run the ball at all.
Yeah.
After the first quarter, so kind of set on the pass.
Yeah, I think I'm just glad we broke the streak. We ended the regular season on a win, which is a great note going forward. Have you been able to watch much Mountaineer football? I mean, you're so busy. You're playing games every other day. I mean, you get to really enjoy.
I don't miss very many of them. You know, I remember we were playing Oklahoma, and our assistant hitting coach is a big Oklahoma fan. The game was going on during our game, so he was constantly going back and forth giving me updates on what was going on. So I keep pretty close tabs on obviously what the team's doing. It's obviously being from here, that's what you root for around here with WVU sports. No matter what it is, we want to see them win and do well.
let's get in a little bit about you. From Morgantown, born and raised, played for the Mountaineers 2008 to 2010, where you got drafted by the Padres. What round was it again? I apologize.
Second round.
Second round. Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was not too bad.
Not
Obviously,
too bad.
I hoped to go in the first. There were some talks, but it didn't happen. And I'm kind of thankful for it. I went to the Padres, and it was going to be the perfect situation for me. With the way the roster lined up and the way my skill set was, I think it was a perfect match.
Now, getting into things a little bit, draft day is such a cool experience. You know what I mean? And both of you guys, because I'm sure you weren't there. Were you there?
Yeah.
You were.
Whole family was there.
Yeah, you know what I mean? What a great experience. I can remember mine was back in my hometown, Gilman, Wisconsin, 400 people. Pretty much it was an open invite to the town. So we had everybody stopping by throughout the days and stuff and have a big old shindig. But, what was the experience like for you? It was, for me, you went early, so that helps a ton. But, sitting for me, I got drafted in the 5th round, I think, 156 or 165 overall, something like that. And it was just so nerve-wracking because everyone was coming up to me saying, "Hey man, what's going on? Like, when you get drafted?" You know what I mean? And obviously, I had no real clue. But give us a little insight on what the day was like for you.
Well, it was an exciting day. I'm not a nervous kind of guy. I think my parents were way more nervous than I was. I just kind of sat back and relaxed. I knew that I was going to get the chance to play somewhere, and it didn't matter when or where. And luckily, I didn't have to wait very long. I think I would end up being the 59th overall pick. So it happened pretty quick. Obviously, I had my immediate family. Obviously, I had my wife there. Other than that, everyone else was kind of waiting at my aunt and uncle's house, ready to celebrate. So we did. Finally heard the name. It was a big relief to get it out of the way, kind of understand and know where I was going to be headed for the next, hopefully for 10, 15 years. So it was exciting. Got to celebrate. Obviously gave everyone a hug, and then we went and celebrated.
It's kind of like hitting the lottery. You know what I mean? But you put so much time and effort into it. I mean, it's well deserved, you know what I mean? With all the hard work that you put into the sport, with the training, days in and days out, the early mornings. What sense of relief were you feeling, at that moment? I know this is kind of putting you in a hard spot just because, some of them feelings might have left you a little bit, but what was like the main thing going through your head?
The main thing going through my head was I'm going to be away from home for the first time. That was going to be something different, but it was the start of pretty much the next chapter of my life is what I was thinking of. It was really time to go to work. It's not easy to go through the minors. Football and basketball, you guys get drafted and usually straight into the league, whereas baseball, it's a long process to get to the major league. So I knew that the work had just started.
Scott, you were there obviously. So I mean,
I think we get more excited than Jed does.
Yeah.
Jed's such an even keel person that it takes a lot for him to get excited. Like the birth of his boys, I've never seen Jed that excited other than when I shot that deer in his stand. But that day was just pure joy. I actually went into work and then left work early so we could all be there and be the same, just sitting there watching the TV, just scrolling, waiting for that phone call. As everyone hears, or as everyone knows, you get that phone call from your agent, and you like, "Hey, watch the TV," and then that phone call came, and everyone's eyes lit up. It was really exciting, really fun to be a part of.
Yeah, I can remember where I'm from. Obviously, not very great cell reception, so I'm sitting there on like the only hill we have in town, waiting for a call, and I got the phone call. And I'm talking to Coach Holmgren, and he's saying, "Hey, you ready to come play in Seattle?" And I was just thinking to myself, I'm from Wisconsin. I'm a Packer backer, through and through. Green and gold is what I was fed from day one. Brett Favre is, he's, the one and only, and Mike Holmgren was just, to my grandparents, he's a god. I mean, for Christmas, I got them both a football signed by him, and I mean, brought a tear to my grandfather's eye, you know what I mean? Which was cool, and my grandmother just smiled. She said, I don't really like, obviously grandfather was cool, but grandma was like, a football signed? I was like, what, can't I get like a bake sheet or something? But I should have got her a wooden spoon signed by him or something. But, yeah, recipe books. I bet he's probably got one. He's probably got one on the internet. Who knows? I have to look that up. I'm sure it's filled with some good recipes. Sunday morning nacho dips. It's so special. Being from Morgantown for you guys, playing in Morgantown. What was that experience like for you? As far as, growing up here in town, getting a chance to play for, your home team that you rooted for and cheered for, diehard, growing up. What was that experience like?
It was something that I'll never forget. The support around town is so overwhelming that anytime I go anywhere, there's just people saying how proud they are, just congratulating me on the things that I did. And that was only when I went to college. Where it's gone now has been exciting. Just to be able to play for your hometown team, and it meant a lot. I know, obviously, Scott was on a little bit bigger scale being able to play football. The baseball program wasn't where it needed to be, but to still go. To be able to play there meant a lot. I had visited other colleges, and when I would go there and visit, nothing seemed right. It was never home, so that's what ended up making me come here.
Yeah, Scott,
it was a little different. I have selfish reasons for me coming here. I mean, our whole family's from here. I mean, Jed and I were born and raised here. Huge family on both sides of each family. And I was like, if I go away, there's no way they're going to be able to come watch us play. And then West Virginia football is the biggest thing, really the only thing in the state. And I was like, well, that's what I'm going to do. And everyone's going to be able to watch and play in front of them. And you're on the grandest scale there is.
Yeah, fortunate for us, we got to play when it was good. You know what I mean? When there was a lot of support, and we were doing great.
Except for that first year.
Well, I mean, bite your tongue. But that's why I sat in the middle, just in case I got to step in between things here.
That first year was pretty rough, 3-8. Rich Rod wanted all the linemen to be about 260, but be able to run, and we just got pushed all over the place.
Yeah. Funny thing today, somebody sent me a text message before the show. It goes, hey, I just told Holgerson's leaving, going to Michigan. And, so I called my source, Tony Creed. I was like, man, is this true? He's like, no way. He's like, people will be rioting in the streets of West Virginia. So not a cool hoax, not a very cool radio hoax. I guess they told us that that wasn't true. But talk about a little bit, Scott. Talk about the adjustments. And I want to get both of you guys' opinion. You can kind of go back and forth with it. What does it mean to be from Morgantown and play for the university?
Just being from here is something special. The community around here, we had a tragic incident that happened this week, but that usually doesn't happen around here. I mean, that hardly ever happens here. And it's just a small town feeling on a large scale. It's basically what it feels like. And then to be part of the biggest thing sport-wise in the state is right here. You always hear about it. And then when you're playing for them, everyone's talking about it already. And then they're talking about the local. Just like basketball with Nathan Adrian now. A lot of people, almost everybody from town is talking, hey Nathan, you see him around town talking to him about the season already. 7 games in the season. It's no different with football, and I'm not sure about baseball. And Jed can bring that up because baseball is kind of the second sport here.
Yeah,
one third or fourth.
It ranks up there with men's soccer, I think.
Ooh, man, that's a burn, dude. Oh man. I
don't want to ruffle any feathers.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man, it's gonna be a blowout. I hope so. Let's see a little brawl action. We can get the ring. We can clear the chairs out if you guys want. I got 15-pound gloves in the office. When people get a little rowdy, if you guys want to test them
Scott
out.
probably won't be able to lift those anymore.
Cheat to win. You're not cheating, you're not trying.
Yeah,
what trick
it's true. It's true. It's so true. Let's, Jen, talk a little bit about the training aspect of professional sports, and we'll get into a little bit about what we did here at West Virginia, obviously with bar wrestling. We've talked about it in previous shows, but I mean, I've seen so many different, you watch on TV, and baseball is, just the money is incredible. So you see some of these guys have these, home facilities with batting cages, and, all sorts of stuff. What's your, have you gotten that into it yet, or are you going to, or what's,
How as far as the home gyms and stuff like that, I'm not really into it. I think home is for your family. That's where you hang out with your family. Me personally, I always go to Pro Performance and work out. That's my spot. Those guys have treated me well for years. So if it's time to go to work, whether it's lifting or baseball and stuff like that, that's where I go. I go up there and kind of get away, and then when I come home, that's family time, especially with the two little boys now. I need all my attention is toward them now. So, but the thing that's different for me being a professional now compared to college is you don't have to deal with classes, you don't have to worry about the stress of that, and so your off-season practices and stuff like that. That's gone. I'm on my own for the off-season. We're professionals for a reason, and we understand what we need to do to get ourselves ready. So that's a different aspect. Some of my days get a little boring sometimes because I don't have my workouts to do, but it's good to just be able to relax, and then when it's time to go, it's go time.
yeah.
I know a lot of the questions I get is what's a typical day for Jen? I'm like, well, I don't really even know, to be honest. So once you elaborate during the season, what's a typical day in the life of a Major League Baseball player?
It's longer than most expect. We play 7-10 games. People expect us to show up at 6 o'clock and put our jersey on and go play, which is really not the case. It starts. I usually get up pretty late. With the games being so late, I don't get to bed till probably 1 o'clock every night. So the eating habits are always messed up. So I usually have a late breakfast at around 10. Kind of hang out with the family as much as I can, and I'm usually going to the field by 12:30. Get to the field at 1 o'clock. From then on, it get yourself ready. Football players understand it more than anybody. You got to get your body prepared to play. So it's either a hot tub, seeing the trainer, getting a massage, whatever it takes to get yourself ready. And then we have early work, we have batting practice, we got video, we got to do our study on the pitcher that we're gonna face, maybe some of the closers we're gonna face. And then from there it's out to BP at 4 o'clock. BP's from 4 to 5. We come in. We watch video again, we get something to eat, and then we take a little bit of hitting right before the game starts, and then it's game time.
Obviously, because there's not really plays. I mean, there's ways to line up, as far as, defending, what's going on in the field. What kind of can you kind of detail, the film that you guys are watching?
Mostly the film we watch is based on what the pitcher that night is going to do. We face a different pitcher every single night, and then along with that, we're going to see some guys in their bullpen that we have to make sure we understand and see what they're going to throw us to. So a lot of it goes into what the pitcher's got, what they're going to try to get us out with. And then from there, we usually have, at the beginning of every series, which is every 3 or 4 days, we'll have a defensive meeting where we'll go over the team we're playing, go over defensive alignments, if we're going to shift the guy or his tendencies of where he's going to hit the ball, and then go from there.
This is a pretty neat thing that I saw that we had last year. Is, how we had the scrapbooks that had the players' names and formations and stuff like that. Well, now technology's passing everything up. They got iPads now, and it goes through, and they load up different things and see. This is how he pitched me last game. It's probably he had success doing this. I'm going to pay attention to this. It's pretty neat that how they do that now.
Yeah, our video guys and our tech guys that we have they do an incredible job. You know, each day we'll get a message on our iPad that says, here's today's starters, here's the guys that are likely to come out of the bullpen. And then it'll have all your at-bats against those guys in the past. So say we're facing Clayton Kershaw tonight, I'll have all my at-bats from the past 2 years against Clayton Kershaw and how he's attempted to try to get me out, stuff like that.
I don't think people really realize how much effort is put into preparing for a game. You know, and you guys are playing them, what, every 2-3 days? I mean, the turnover is so quick, so to me, yeah, almost every day. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
We usually get, I think it's about 2 off days a month.
It's just,
pretty much what it is.
It's nuts to me. The amount of games and the traveling, it's even a wonder you guys can. I know it's not very super labor intensive, but baseball is a sport that to me is very injury prone just because you're doing a lot of starting and stopping from being cold as far as your muscles go. Obviously you train differently, you know, but that always just, it's just different going, you know, trying to take off when you're cold. I mean, if anybody knows, it's
an explosive sport.
Exactly.
It's something where you can sit around for a minute and then you have to run full speed for the next 10 seconds and then you're done. So it's all about fast twitch muscles. You know, my training is revolved around that. You're not going to see me going out and running a mile at a time because it doesn't help me in my sport. So it's a lot of fast twitch movements. You know, obviously, sprint work, stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, do you run, do you jog like 5 miles a day? I said that is the worst thing you can do. You know, when you train to run slow, you're actually training yourself to be slow. You know what I mean? When you jog and stuff like that. I'm assuming for baseball, it's a lot of explosive movements, power cleans, stuff like that. Is that some of the work that you guys are doing? Like,
a lot of our stuff is
just box plyometrics and stuff.
A lot of our stuff is body weight. You know, stuff like that. We don't do a whole lot of powerlifting, stuff like that, just because it's bad for our shoulders and our knees. You know,
Yes, it is.
With us throwing a lot, we gotta try to keep our shoulder as loose as possible. Obviously, we don't want to try to bulk up too much to the point where we're almost getting stiff.
Yeah, baseball was always actually my favorite and best sport when I played in high school, and that was one of my biggest things. I played football, so I was an explosive base runner, and I could beat out a lot of throws, and that was kind of how I made mine. And then high school ended, and I was nothing anymore. I thought I was something good. I tried out for the Brewers actually. It's like the third tryout, and then River Falls actually said they got me into school, so I was like, I'm gonna play football. And that's what I wanted to do. Obviously, I made.
We're glad that.
Yeah, I'm glad that choice. Yeah, I'm glad that choice happened. Otherwise, I'd probably still be playing for the Eau Claire Blue Horns or whatever they were.
You're talking about the travel arrangements. You know, their travel arrangements aren't like ours when our knees are up against the playing seat.
Oh yeah, I mean,
well, college was like that too. It wasn't always as nice as it is now. Even going through the minors, you're riding on. I remember the year I got drafted. I went to Eugene, Oregon. Is where my first team was. And I got there for a week, and we had a couple home games, which was nice. And our first road trip, I didn't even know where we were going. It was Eugene, Oregon to the Boise, Idaho, which is a nice 13-hour trip on a bus with a partner sitting next to you. And I can still remember to this day looking out the window and thinking, what the hell did I just do to myself? Why am I here doing this right now? And obviously, the end result is why we all do it. But you know, the travel's tough. Nowadays, it's a little bit easier on us. You know, we don't have to.
Let's be honest. Tell us how it is, because I'll tell you how it was for us. So I'm assuming with less players, it might be a little more extravagant.
I tell it how it is. You know, the clubs make the owners of the team and the teams make plenty of money to take care of us. So, and we'll get on the bus after a game and drive right onto the tarmac. You know, our plane's sitting there waiting for us. None of the security lines, none of that stuff. No taking your shoes off, no taking your belt off. Just right onto the plane. you know, as long as it's not Sunday, we usually get Chick-fil-A waiting for us as a snack. You know, 3-course meals waiting for us during the flights. Whatever, movies, you got movies, TV, and the best part is you got your a whole row to yourself. If you want to spread out and lay down, you do whatever you want.
Yeah, you really are pampered, man. It's like
they take it's way better than probably we deserve.
No, it is. It probably is. Especially, I always think of Major League, you know, and all the, you know. But this is a real thing. I'm not kidding you. This is a real thing. Okay. When I got drafted to Seattle, they just built this brand new immaculate facility. I mean, it's state of the art. It's ridiculous. It's so overkill, like just for a practice facility, you know. And I'm talking the first lunch I had there was crab that was sliced down the middle, so it was like already cracked open for you. You just peeled it out of the shell. And we had crab, we had oysters. It was ridiculous. I mean, we were right in Seattle, so they always got plenty of food from Pike's Place Market, which if you're ever in Seattle, check out Pike's Place Market. It's awesome. It's the place to go.
Great.
Fresh.
Oh, I love Seattle.
It's beautiful, man. It's like, I love living there because, you know, on a clear day, Mount Rainier is just, it looks fake. It's this giant mountain, like kind of looking down upon Seattle, which is such a good, you know, beautiful place. The water's right there. It's a really cool city, man. So much awesome stuff to do, from, you know, hiking. If you're into winter sports, Mount Baker's right down the road there. If you whale watching, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. It's a beautiful place. But you know, I can remember, and this was actually, they had just lost the Super Bowl to Pittsburgh, actually, in 05, I believe it was, or 06. I think it was 06, or 05, might have been. Never quite all the way, but they had, the owner of the team had his, you know, chartered flight, which was all first class seating. Big, huge arm trails that like lounge back. Well, then they lost the Super Bowl, and then you know, they didn't do so hot the next couple of years, so they got rid of that. So you know, I got the regular plane, but yeah, it's crazy how they take care of you. I mean, you're paying for free Wi-Fi, any movie you want to watch that they got on there. You're getting homemade cookies, like at the end of the trip, they give you milk.
There's more cookies that they pass around.
They're so good.
They just melt in your mouth.
Oh, they're so good. They're freshly made on the plane, and they just melt in your mouth. It's hard. It's like the cordon bleus. It's like the chicken cordon bleus from Lakeview.
I get so excited for those every week.
I know. They're so good. I think Lakeview always just had the best ones. They're so sloppy. They're just like just all over the place. You know, getting into some of the travel, you know, what is a travel day? What's a normal week? I mean, what is the week like?
Well, it depends on obviously where we are and where we're going. If we're at home, we'll have the game, we'll have to take our bags and stuff to the field, drop them off at the field, and that's the last time we'll see our bags until we get to our hotel room. But you know, play the game. Usually it's an hour after the game. You know, we have to be ready. We're on a bus to the airport. Get into that city. You know, get as much sleep as you can. You got a game again that night. It's different than most sports, where you play every single day. You're in different hotels. I can remember waking up some mornings and when you're out to try to figure out where I am, was because we travel late at night. You get in and you're not sure what city you're in because you bounce around so much. But pretty much like that. We travel after every day. So at the end of every series, it's either a 3 or 4 game series. So you finish up that series, you're on a plane and you're going to the next city, you play 3 or 4 games, and you're off to the next city. You just keep bouncing around.
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of nice about football. You only travel in like 2, most 3 days.
Yeah, it's nice. Another thing though too is, you know, so many people think, and I don't know, this might be different for baseball because it is a little, you know, different of a sport, but when you get to a city, it's not, hey, let's go out and have a great time. It's business, man. You're sitting in the, we travel, it's the same way. You're sitting you're in meeting rooms. If you're not in meeting rooms, you might get maybe 2 hours to kind of just chill out. If you want to go can't really see much in 2 hours. You know what I mean? But yeah, and then right on the plane and then get home. I remember, especially the hardest games for me, like, you guys have a lot of, games where you'll play, obviously, West Coast, and then you got to play an East Coast game,
the next day.
Yeah, I mean, give a little insight, and I'll talk some on that too. And Scott, you could talk a little bit about that from flights that you've had West Coast to East Coast. I mean, it's hard to do that. I mean, it kills your sleep patterns.
It's really tough going West Coast to East Coast just because you lose the hours. If you're going East Coast to West Coast, you usually get in about the same time you leave, which is kind of nice. But we'll play a game we'll have a 5 o'clock game at San Diego, and then we'll have a 7 o'clock game in Pittsburgh the next night. So you play 3 games. By the time you get situated, you kind of get your sleep schedule figured out in Pittsburgh. When that 3-game series is over, you're packing up and you're flying back to San Diego and just start all over again.
I want to talk a little bit about stadiums here, just because I know this is a little bit different, but I think that's what's so cool about really this, to me, is the coolest experience I really took away from football was all the rich history, like, in the stadiums. I mean, talk a little bit about, just some of the places you played that you wanted to, just whatever it may be, a dream or whatnot,
Yep, I've seen a bunch of them. Obviously, Wrigley Field's the first one that comes to mind. Obviously, Fenway. I haven't had the opportunity to play in Yankee Stadium yet, but I'm sure at some point in my career I'll get to play there. But it's just to show up at those places and to think that Babe Ruth played on this same exact field that I'm playing on, and that's pretty incredible to think about it. That's not many people can go out there and say that, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're at about our halfway mark here, and just want to thank Jed and Scott here for coming on the show. Don't want to forget thedpost.com from 6 to 7 streamed live here from Schmitt Saloon, Davidson Brothers Music Hall. Now is kind of our question and answer part of the show, so if you guys would like, there's a mic here set up. You're more than welcome to come up and ask a question to any of the 3 of us. I know we've kind of not talked so much about the Mountaineers tonight, but it's not every day you get 2 brothers up here, especially 2 gifted athletes. One still currently playing professionally, so I want to thank you so much for coming. And Scott, thanks for pulling that together. I want to talk about game day experience a little bit, and this is where you can really talk about, let's let loose a little bit, kind of, what does it really mean to you? Put yourself out there a little bit, really tell people how it really, means to you. Scott, I've been rambling here a ton lately. Let's start with you.
Game day, there's nothing like it to begin with. I mean, that's what you do 365 days a year training for, is for these 12, 13 days a year for us, 162 for you.
Yeah, crazy.
I mean, to get amped for game day, I mean, you get up at like 6:30, you get breakfast, and you gotta get your fuel in, try to get a routine down. Then right after breakfast, at least I was trying to go through my playbooks, my schemes, my coverages, and everything like that, just to be sharp, getting your mind right before the game. Once you get to the game, it's just reaction at that point, is basically what you're trying to do. Before the game even starts, though, when you're on the bus ride over there and you see people tailgating, whether you're at home, you see beers chugging, people, cornhole, whatever, I mean, you just get so excited. And now they have that man trip where everyone goes by and they see all the fans getting rowdy and excited for the game. It gets you pumped up. I mean, you almost got to calm yourself down, because you don't, I mean, it's still 3 hours before the game. But then you're stretching out, getting your pads on, coach is scheming with you. And then once game time comes in and you go out of the tunnel, that's what it's about right there. Running out of the tunnel, especially the night game when you got the fog and the stir coming, and you run out to 60,000 people screaming their heads off. I mean,
And that was when we still ran out of the helmet.
yeah.
They took that away from us. Took the tunnel and the helmet away from us. Bummed about that. But yeah, just talk. I mean, the sights, the sounds, the smells. What gets you fired up? You know.
For me, it's the competition. You know, I am by far the most competitive person that I know. So to see anyone with a different uniform on, it just makes me want to get after them. You know, it's whatever I got to do to beat them. That's what I'm going to do. It's just that's the competitive spirit. And when you play 162 games, there's got to be something inside. There's got to be a tick inside of you that gets you. There's days can get long when you're out there in the summer and it's 100 degrees and you got to play another game today, another game tomorrow, the day after that. So there's got to be something that keeps you going, and I think my competitive drive is what does it for me.
We'll kind of bounce off of that a little bit. What was your pregame ritual?
What was your go-to?
My go-to. Okay. Well, you know, you wake up, you go get some fuel. I'd chug some orange juice, some V8. I'd probably eat about 8 eggs, which is, I don't know why I do that.
You're having like a replacement.
Honestly, I'm not kidding you. I'm serious. Not full yolks. I'd probably eat about 4 yolks, and then I'd cut the other ones out. Put some tuna in there. I called it, put a little hot sauce, and that was called a house of protein. Right there. You eat one of them bad boys, I'm telling you what. About 40 grams of protein in one of them little things. But that ensured I'd have enough for the night. And then, you know, if it was a home game, you'd drive to the games. I'd always put my mix on, you know, a lot of Metallica, a lot of AC/DC, Pantera, Megadeth, to kind of get me just in that zone. And Oakland probably was the best place to drive into, because if you've ever been to Raider Nation before, I mean, welcome to the circus. I mean, it's out in full force, dude. I mean, these guys are wearing shoulder pads with spikes on them, faces painted, full helmets, you know, the full nine, like.
Well, they never threw snowballs at Santa Claus.
Yeah, right. That's what happened. Yeah, they get in trouble for that all the time. You know, you drive in and you're just, it's like super focused. Actually, when I was playing for Philly, I used to drive a little 88 Ford Ranger. And I always joke with everyone, I said, that's my game day car. I mean, because everybody rolls up in there like Bentleys or like crazy Challengers with like rims all down on them, or they're all blacked out. And I pull up in this 88 Ford Ranger, you know, it was like an Uncle Buck thing when you turned it off, like a big old backfire. There's smoke rolling out the back. And I can't remember, so there's so many times where, oh, we've got a question right here. Let's go. Let's see what you got, Mr. Speaking to the mic a little bit.
Earlier this year, you were named the freakiest college athlete of the last decade. You were with guys like Adrian Peterson, Calvin Johnson, Clown. Where were you when you heard that, and what are your thoughts on being named the freakiest college athlete of the last decade?
First of all, I guess thank you, because I don't know if that's exactly entirely true, but it's a cool honor to have for sure, especially with, I think James Harrison was on there. Yeah, and those are all greats, you know what I mean? Bruce Feldman, who actually wrote that article from ESPN, I sent him a tweet, and I don't tweet that often, but I shot him a little tweet, said, thanks for keeping the beer truck alive.
Well, I think it was judged on how many face masks people broke. So I think that's what it came.
That's what it was.
Probably just the blood running down his face.
I think that's what it was. To be honest with you, I think that might have gave me a little precedence, which is always funny. Always a good conversation starter. Hey, I saw that play where you were like, blood was running down your face,
smashing your face with the helmet.
I try to forget about that. But getting back a little bit to, yeah, I mean, what a great honor, obviously, you know, especially for, you know, Bruce to really kind of keep that whole, mantra alive, my folklore or whatever, so I gave him a shout out for that. But yeah, it's a pretty cool honor. And actually my buddy Billy had sent it to me, and he goes, "Man, you're still alive." It was like 2 years after I kind of got out or whatever. So yeah, it was neat. But getting back to game days a little bit too, thank you Brad for the question. Getting back to game days a little bit, and talking about pros to college, game day in Morgantown, there is
Nothing like
there
it.
is nothing like it, man. It's just the buzz, you know what I mean? And
Well, how many times can you win an away game on their field and your home field uprights get torn down and taken down High Street?
I mean, not very many places, you know what I mean? And that's kind of a thing of the past now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
The Baylor game was pretty wild.
yeah. That was got a little out of control with the students, but what a crazy game, by the way. Anyways, going over the season a little bit. Question. One more question.
Yeah. As former players, how do you feel about Florida State being undefeated in the Power 5 conference yet being ranked 4th?
Ooh.
I don't like it. I mean, they're on a 28-game winning streak, defending national champions. I don't know why they're not number 1. I mean, all they do is win. You get penalized for winning. They've dropped the past 2 weeks. They dropped the 3rd and then now the 4th. And I just don't get it. How someone can hold the longest winning streak in the nation.
Yeah, and I don't really understand it because the competition level's there. I mean, they can play a couple of cream puffs, but I mean, maybe 1 or 2. That's about it. I mean,
I don't get it either. People, just because they say they're not playing well, don't realize how hard it is to win a college football game. You guys have been through it. I only know it through Scott just from the way he talks, but it's not easy to win a college football game regardless of who's on that other sideline. And for them to go undefeated so far, that's a tough thing to do.
Well, you don't even hear about Oregon. I mean, they're playing in the Pac-12 North. Where's their competition that they're supposedly playing to be ranked above them with 1 loss?
yeah,
I really don't understand how.
Well, and it's just so crazy to think. I mean, I just don't get it. Isn't that how it works? If you're undefeated, you're number 1. You know what I mean? I mean, like you said, it's hard enough to get a win in college football, and they play good teams. You know what I mean? And they played a lot of great teams this year. Something they need to get worked out, obviously.
Well, the one good thing is that they fixed is now that they will play, whether they're 3rd or 4th, they are going to get to play.
Yeah.
If you win, you're in.
Yeah.
So they did get that right. And I'd still like to see it expanded to maybe 6 teams to get the top 2 a bye maybe, and then go that way. But I still think there's at least 6 teams that are worthy of playing for a national championship.
Well, it's playoffs, man. That's the best part. You get to see all these different conferences actually getting a chance to compete and say, hey, yeah, we're the little guy, but we could strut our stuff too. That's what I really like about the playoff aspect, obviously, of it. Question.
I actually have 2.
Cool.
First one's for Jen and Scott. Does it bother you that neither one of you are the best looking Jerko brother?
Oh wow, the best. Which one's the best looking Jerko brother?
The guy with no hair.
The guy with the receding hairline up there.
Wait, who's got the receding hairline?
Look at that, you can't even see it.
Oh jeez.
You can't see it because of the glare of the light reflecting back at us.
All right, serious question though. You guys were all college athletes. Do you think they should be paid?
I absolutely think they should be paid. As much money as they're making the universities, and as much as you put your body through, football and baseball is a little different. I had a stinger I probably had 4 or 5 stingers every week where my arm would get completely numb. It was like it was on fire. I couldn't even barely lift my arm up. And I'm doing all this for basically a free education. And yeah, that's great. But when you go look at the grand scheme of things and universities making millions upon millions of dollars, it's not worth it.
Yeah, and especially to the likeness stuff. you know, the jerseys they sell. You know, I don't know how many Pat White jerseys they sold, but it was a lot. You know what I mean? And at 80 bucks a jersey, I mean, he's not seen a dime. And for a lot of these college athletes, you know, in hopes, obviously, in dreams to get to the pros, they don't make it, and then, you know, it's back to ground zero again. You know, that's the, I just think it would be nice to see at least, whatever, it's a flat rate, whatever it be. I don't, you know, that's for them to decide. But, you know, with as much time and effort that's put into it, and all the hours that we're not supposed to be there, but we're there anyways, you know.
Well, we were never there.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We're not going to complain about that because we're winning ball games, but, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's, to me, I mean, hey.
Well, that's one thing that a lot of people didn't realize is how much time actually goes into being a student athlete. And Randy would always dog them, you know, dog the players. Oh, they get everything. They don't, you know. And then he saw me go through it. Then he kind of understood and then was part of it, you know. And then saw Jed go through it as well. It's like you're never home. You're always either studying, you're lifting, or you're eating a good game. And there's no time to relax.
And, you know, going off of that, I don't think people understand that, hey, 5 o'clock in the morning is early. And that's what time you're getting up to lift weights. Like you're going to lift, you're going to do the hardest.
650 pounds on your back.
Yeah, you're going, yeah. It's, you know, and then you're going to class after the workout. Then you're going back to practice. Then you're going through meetings, you know, and then you go home, do your homework, and go to bed and do it all over again. You know, and summers you're here because it's not mandatory, but it's mandatory practices, you know. Neither is your playing time type deal. You know, I mean, that's the stuff that was said to us, though.
It was school number one, football number two.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody saw that, but school number one, football number two. So yeah, that's so funny. Jeff, I mean, what do you think?
You know, obviously, getting the free schooling is probably more than maybe we deserve, but you know, at the same time, like you guys said, we're putting in full work hour days. You know, we're putting 8 hours of work in every single day at football, baseball, whatever that was. You know, I think there should be. If they do it, everyone should get the same. You know, I know in Major League Baseball, we get licensing agreements, which means at the end of the day, I get a check the same as Derek Jeter, and by no means am I selling more jerseys, doing anything close to what Derek Jeter is, but we're getting the same amount of check, and that'd be the same way. Say Jameis Winston, maybe the biggest name in football, it wouldn't be fair to give him more money than say a walk-on at WVU that's just kind of on the practice squad. So. That's all the things that they're going to have to consider. I think that's why it's going to take so long, and that's going to be the tough question, whether he's going out and signing autographs or what. Everyone should be treated the same, get the same amount.
Yeah, and it's coming. It's coming.
It is.
I mean, they've already passed the food or whatever law that they made that they can give you unlimited food now because they said I can't even afford to eat. You know, so. It is coming. It's just a matter of how they can be fair, whether living in Morgantown, West Virginia is the same as living in Pasadena, California. Something that's going to work out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I think a lot of people don't understand, when you're playing ball, you can't get a job. You're not allowed to get a job when you're under the NCAA compliance laws. So you can't make money if you want to. You know what I mean? I remember when my first year here, I was bouncing down at what's called 4th and Goal now for 20 bucks a night, and I was getting, you know, one pitcher of beer at the end of the night, and that was it. 20 bucks for, you know, 6 hours of work. I was like, I'm getting ripped off. You know, but that's about all I could really do. You know, I couldn't get 9 to 5 because I was working till, you know.
They give you the scholarship check that just basically pays for a place to live, and that's basically it.
Yeah.
You wanted to go to watch a movie or go buy, you know, a new pair of shoes other than Team Michigan stuff. I mean, it was you had the budget.
And one thing about it, you know, I think our checks were about $700 a month, which, yeah, you know, 700 bucks for a week is, you know, that's living wealthy. But a month, if you're talking $400 for rent, Then you got your utilities. If you got, I had a car, so I was paying a car bill and my insurance, my cell phone, and that was like the only thing I could afford.
And it's not like in Morgantown, you can just hop on the PRT to go over to the football stadium.
Yeah, you know, so plus the gas, plus, you know, it was a very tight budget. And I wish I could still reenact that budget, you know, in my everyday life, because I'd probably be pocketing a lot more money.
But it was nice for us because we both stayed at home, so we had mom was cooking.
Yeah, you guys
we needed a meal other than after the practices, but didn't have to pay for a place to stay.
Well, and that's the advantage of living in town. I know Mark Vander, you know, obviously lived at home as well. He got to, you know, bank a lot of those checks, obviously, for savings. So, yeah, if you were doing it that way, for sure. But for everybody else who was, you know, obviously wasn't from here. So it's tight, man. It's tight. You know, you learn a lot of things about yourself when you're living on the mac and cheese, and tuna cans and stuff like that. So yeah, it'd be nice to see. Like I said, I totally agree. They're going to have some sort of flat rate, and then maybe, you know, in football they do a player performance check, whereas and all that stems off of, you know, this is what we paid you your salary, but you actually overperformed what we thought you were going to. I don't know if you guys get anything like that. So, you know, my first year, I ended up getting a really nice check after the season because I played a lot more than I thought I was going to. You know, if they did it something like that, they pay the players a flat rate, and based off the percentage of plays they play, or whatever, they got something, then maybe I could understand that. But one flat rate to me would be fine. Even if they don't give it to the kids, fine, give it to the scholarship checks, and then set them up an IRA. You know, set them up like a retirement fund. Actually, that's a great idea. You know what I mean? And then they can't touch it, they can't spend. And when they finally graduate, you know, they already have a steady build-up of retirement set up. And, you know, I mean, that would make me feel great if I was.
That would be nice to do. I mean, NCAA's still got to get involved. I mean, how much can you give them?
Yeah.
If someone says, hey, I'll make sure that when you're done here, you'll never have to work again. I mean,
Yeah.
It's going to happen wherever. I mean, it happens all the time now.
I don't think it should be based off pro numbers. You know, I mean, I think those are so skewed anyways. You know what I mean? Plus, I always think it's funny. You know, you're in a locker room and you know, O-linemen are getting paid less money than the quarterbacks, but they're the ones who you're asking to protect the quarterbacks. I mean, who's really getting the real deal here? You know what I mean? Obviously, I get it, the quarterback's captain of the team, but still, the big boys, you know. We're just about to wrap it up here, but got about 8 minutes left. Thank you guys so much for all the questions. I just want to say, thedeeppost.com, streaming live from 6 to 7, and we'll be here live 6 to 7 every day on the Schmitt Show, the Owen Schmitt Show. That's what we're calling it. That's what we're calling it these days.
The Holy Schmitt Show.
The Holy Schmitt Show. Can we say that? Can we say that? I'd like to thank you guys so much again. Please, big round of applause for these two up here. Closing comments. I guess we're looking at possible Liberty Bowl. That's what I heard.
The Liberty Bowl and the Russell Athletic Bowl, I think.
The Russell Athletic Bowl.
Yeah.
That's the bowl.
That'd be great to go there and get a football helmet as a gift.
Yeah, you know, maybe they'll give you a pair of old gym shorts.
What makes it interesting is that we could possibly be teamed up against Clemson again.
Yeah, which would be nice. What do you think that would happen? I don't think the scores.
70-33 sounds pretty good.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice. Looking to next year for the Mountaineers, you know, I know we still have the bowl game, obviously, but areas that you'd like to see improved on. Let's just say, you know.
Well, I don't know about improved on, but the one that's going to stick out is obviously the quarterback position. You got Skylar Howard, just played at an extremely high level, coming in here with Clint Trickett this year, and you got William Crest, you know, is supposed to be the guy. So there's going to be a great competition in spring ball. for the quarterback position.
Yeah, I think spring ball this year is going to be fun to
I'm
watch.
interested in, obviously, the receiver position with Kevin White and Alford graduating. Who's going to be that next guy to step up? Who's going to be those guys to fill their shoes?
Yeah, and those are all good areas that we're.
What's nice
I mean,
is
what's gonna
our defense is going to, most of our defense is back.
Yep.
And Russell Shell's back. We got a bunch of linemen that are going to be performing well. I mean, next year, I don't want to look past the bowl game, but next year could be a great season.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too, just because a lot of kids have gotten so much experience this year, and with this being the first install of Gibby's 335, what's going to happen next year? A little step faster here and there, a little bit quicker. I'd like to see, it's not more something that we can get, it's more of an attitude for next year. I'd really like to just be complete dogs out there next year, a real force to be reckoned with as far as just playing a physical game of football.
Well, next year's schedule is going to be really challenging. We thought this year's strength of schedule was tough. Wait till we get next year 2 TCU, 2 Baylor, 2 Oklahoma.
Yep.
I mean, this year's strength of schedule was top 15. Next year, it's not number 1. It should be.
I think another important thing with obviously the new defense is how important it was to get to a bowl game this year, to get all those extra practices that we missed out on in the past without getting to that bowl game. That's 20, 30 practices that we're going to get in for those younger underclassmen to start proving themselves, start to step up and start learning the offenses and defenses also.
And that is such a great point because, yeah, the bowl game might not be the best to go to, but it is. It's another week or two to practice. You know what I mean? To put something else in, to let these, like you said, these young guys, because, it's so important, just the experience. And obviously it rolls it a little bit farther, so you got less time in between spring ball, because it'll be about a month, I believe, or 3 weeks before they play bowl games, I guess, 2-3 weeks.
So Liberty's, I think both of those are the 29th.
So yeah, about 2-3 weeks. So yeah, great. Hopefully we can just end the season on a positive note.
Well, expectations for this year weren't all that great. And to come out 7-5, and the possibility to really be 9-3, 10-2 if you win a couple of those close games has really shocked a bunch of people. It's been a great surprise.
Well, you think about it, TCU was a point. Texas, I didn't think we should have lost that game. That just kind of went backwards.
It was 10.
Yeah. Super close games. I thought it was great for us. I think next year, conditioning, as far as mental toughness, when you get streaks of losing, trying to get out of those funks, because it can be a very detrimental thing to a ball club. We got about 3 minutes here, but playoffs. What you miss not being in the playoffs?
Yeah, it's tough to watch those guys play, especially the Giants. They're in our division. We play those guys 20 times a year. To see them celebrate on the field, it's a tough pill to swallow to watch them out there celebrating. It just makes you even more motivated to get to that point.
Not even that, but another bonus is the playoff checks.
Yeah, those don't hurt either.
Those are always what I only got to the playoffs 1 year, but it was a nice bonus.
Yeah, it never hurt anything.
It never hurts to get a little extra. Well, I'm sorry. Some of them, hey,
I'm not as good.
Holiday bonus at Northwestern.
Yes. I don't. What is the bonus in the baseball?
I don't know. I've never been there.
Ouch.
I've heard that it's if you get to the World Series, it's well into the 6 figures. So it's definitely worth it.
And I feel like playoffs is when everybody kind of steps there. The competition has been scaled down. You know what I mean? So now you're getting to the best. The cream has risen to the top, and now you're getting into some super,
Everybody's dialed in.
Yeah.
Everyone's watching too, you know. During baseball, there's 15 games a night, so I mean, not everyone's watching every single game. When it comes to the playoffs, there's one game on, so everyone's watching that game.
Well, thank you guys so much. Another edition of the Owen Schmitt Show. I want to thank Jed and Scott here for coming out. Thank the people.